You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/future to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/future for 20% off. trustandwill.com/future.
Your daily dose of sports talk is here. Highlights, interviews, and analysis. From the entertainment capital of the world, SportsWrap with Jason Page starts now.
We welcome you to it, this Tuesday edition of the show. We got a lot to do over the next 60 minutes. We'll be joined by our friend Chuck Todd, former Meet the Press moderator at NBC News, because he's a gigantic sports fan. We don't get him on to talk politics, don't worry. We know you tune in for the sports stuff. Although, there will be an extended part of the conversation available on YouTube for those of you that care about prediction markets and how they interweave with sports and politics. You'll definitely want to check that out on our YouTube channel, the SportsWrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, which if you have not subscribed to yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. SportsWrap shorts are there. Extended conversations from the show, like the one we're going to have with Chuck Todd, are there as well. So go and check that out. There is plenty to get to from the world of the NFL, where the Chiefs and Jets made a trade yesterday that certainly raised some eyebrows. We'll get into that. A notable player in the NCAA tournament will not be taking part in the NCAA tournament because he was arrested yesterday. Aden Holloway, their second leading scorer at Alabama, arrested. We'll tell you why coming up a little later on in the show. NBA expansion on the table for the league with Las Vegas and Seattle looking like they are poised to get teams. We'll get to all of that, but we start things out as we always do on this Tuesday. It's time for the big story. And the big story is the World Baseball Classic, which will take center stage in Miami on Tuesday night. USA versus Venezuela. USA winds up being the home team. I guess they flipped a coin, and USA winds up being the home team in this game. And what a game it should be. And if you're watching on some of our affiliates, the game has already ended. But what a game this should wind up being. What an atmosphere this should wind up being. Part of the reason we're having Chuck Todd on, incidentally, is the fact that he was at the Venezuela-Italy game on Monday night. So he could attest to what the environment was like down there for that game. But this tournament has succeeded in every way it could have possibly succeeded. Everything you could want to magnify, enhance baseball. And I've seen people starting to ask questions now. Has Major League Baseball surpassed the NBA as the second most popular sport? If you think this tournament this year hasn't had something to do with that, then you're out of your mind. You're not paying attention. Go look at the TV ratings. I could even see it in things as specific as social media. We do these things called SportsWrap Shorts, and this isn't to talk about SportsWrap Shorts, but to talk about the impact I see on social media. SportsWrap Shorts are these 1 minute long clips where we talk about games really fast, get it in 60 seconds, show highlights from games. Can I tell you, the second biggest thing that we cover in SportsWrap Shorts in terms of audiences watching it and getting into it is baseball. It's not the NBA. And I say that as a big NBA fan. The baseball stuff is just grabbing people more. And it's not just World Baseball Classic stuff. Last year, MLB postseason, the numbers we had in SportsWrap Shorts were huge compared to anything else we talk about. SportsWrap shorts do extremely well with baseball and obviously the NFL, which tells me the younger audiences that consume social media, they're gravitating towards that. That next generation of baseball fans is there, which is all the reason more why baseball, coming out of this, has got to get smart people in a room and say, all right, how do we avoid a work stoppage? Because that's where we're headed right now in baseball. We're headed towards a work stoppage. If these two sides can't figure out how to coexist without a salary cap, some sort of cap, they have to figure it out. Because the owners are going to be adamant on a salary cap. Rob Manfred's going to be adamant about a salary cap, and the players are going to say, that's our red line, we will shut down the game. And owners seem ready to shut down the game. And when you have those two sides at loggerheads, I don't know how this thing gets solved. But if they're watching the World Baseball Classic and the enthusiasm around this game right now, and now it's going to get more interesting with ABS during the regular season and the balls and strikes being called a bit more accurately. Whether you like ABS or not, it's going to be good for baseball. They cannot throw away this opportunity. They simply can't do it. All right, shifting away from the baseball conversation to something we're going to talk about a little later on in the show with our friend Sam Yarnell, who's always here. This story out of Alabama is just bonkers. You got this kid, Aden Holloway, second leading scorer on this Alabama team, which is getting ready to take on Hofstra in the NCAA Tournament on Thursday, I believe. And you have a situation where he gets arrested, drug paraphernalia, the allegations of a pound of marijuana. Now people are saying it might even be more than a pound of marijuana, which leans towards distribution more than consumption. Potentially 10 years in prison if convicted, or a $15,000 fine. I would tend to think it leans more towards the $15,000 fine, but who am I to try and get inside the legal system in Alabama? But now you're talking about an Alabama team coached by Nate Oates, which some people are already a bit skeptical of because of Alabama and the NCAA Tournament and their history. And now you're taking away Holloway, their second best scorer, against this Hofstra team. And all of a sudden you start to see the line shift. The line was 14.5, now it's 11.5. And a lot of people are going to start throwing money at this Hofstra line, this plus 11.5 right now. Certainly a game to watch on Thursday when we get to the NCAA tournament. A potential upset in the making between those two teams. We also have first four. We'll get into that a little later on in the show. A couple of games taking place tonight. A couple of 16 seeds meeting up. Texas and North Carolina State also getting together. We'll talk about that a little later on in the show. Sports Wrap with Jason Page, presented by our friends at Colossus Fantasy. If you love fantasy and pick'em games, peer-to-peer, you got to go and download the Colossus Fantasy app. And when you do, on your first deposit, use the promo code SportsWrap and get yourself a big bonus. How about $10 deposit? Get you $50 in bonus money. How about a $20 deposit? It gets you a $100 bonus. Sign up. What are you waiting for? Go and check it out. Colossus Fantasy, and use our promo code SportsWrap when you sign up. We're coming back to talk NFL. Sam Yarnell is here next. All right, coming up in 10 minutes, scheduled to be joined by Chuck Todd, former Meet the Press moderator, host of the Chuck Todd Cast, huge baseball fan. He was at the World Baseball Classic game between the U.S. and the Dominican Republic the other night. We'll get his thoughts on the vibes down there. I'm telling you, it just hits different, man. Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Mexico, it just hits different when those teams are involved. Last night, another fantastic example of that. Sam Yarnell is here for the first time today. Let's talk about the NFL for a couple of minutes. Of course, right after we finished putting together the show yesterday, the news coming down that the Jets had traded away Justin Fields. So they did get something for him after all. instead of having to just give them away or watch them walk away. Jets trade Justin Fields to the Chiefs. They get a draft pick back. But the bigger story here is, and I wrote this to you when I sent you the rundown. To me, it feels like the best possible landing spot he could have gotten, because you get the sense he's going to get all the offseason reps, which, gives him an opportunity to sort of, work his way into the graces of Andy Reid and be a backup there. And there's a good chance he gets, week one, he could be the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, depending on what's going on with Patrick Mahomes. I feel like this is the best of all scenarios for Justin Fields in this.
Yeah, it was a very interesting move yesterday, right? And the timing of it all was kind of weird, but I think there are a few things that we can take away from this. First of all, there is a little bit of a misconception going around that the Jets actually did turn Justin Fields into draft picks. No, they didn't. The only reason the Jets got draft picks back for him is because they're paying Justin Fields to play for the Chiefs this year, because the Chiefs are so up against the cap, they can't pay anybody to play quarterback this year. So they went out and got Justin Fields and found another team to pay him. My immediate reaction, Jason, the Chiefs are not going to look anything like what they've looked like in the past, and they might actually have the most dynamic rushing offense in the NFL this year. I don't think they may turn into Navy. They may not throw the ball twice in a game, but this team is going to be able to run the ball. I mean, we've talked all of this past season, right? And with Matt Verderame in the offseason, this Chiefs offensive line is up and coming. It's maybe the most underrated unit in the NFL right now, and that's really hard to say about a unit on the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's true. You mix that with Kenneth Walker coming off of a Super Bowl MVP. I know there are some questions about him still, but the guy's shown you that he can hit the home run, and Justin Fields, maybe the best running quarterback in the NFL, if not second, only very close to Lamar Jackson. And I'd quite frankly say, with Lamar's injuries in recent years, I'd put Justin solely on rushing ability ahead of Lamar, maybe by a hair at this point. I think the Chiefs are going to run the ball 18 different ways down people's throats this year, Jason. It's not going to look anything like what we're accustomed to seeing out of them. However, I think it could be effective.
I'll also say this. Even when Patrick Mahomes comes back, I could see them bringing Justin Fields onto the field and running, wildcat plays and things like that. I don't think Justin Fields goes away the moment that Patrick Mahomes comes back. I think he still gets some usage in that offense, Sam.
I think that this move actually says a lot about Patrick Mahomes and where it tells the Chiefs are telling you where Patrick Mahomes' rehab may be at, going out and making this move on March 16th, right? And going out and getting Justin Fields, who's shown you he can be a starter for an entire season if you need him to be. It made me really worried about the status of Patrick Mahomes, and I'm starting to wonder if we even see him at all next year.
Oh, no,
again, especially with the Chiefs. The Chiefs making this move on March 16th does not add up to Patrick Mahomes coming back in week 7, week 10,
I think
week
it
12.
does. I think it does, and I just think it's doing your due diligence. How many times do we talk about teams that aren't prepared when a quarterback goes down with an injury? We see it all the time in this league. I think this is just a franchise doing its due diligence and making sure that they don't have some third stringer backing up Patrick Mahomes that has to start in week 1 in the event he's not available. It also means you don't have to rush him back. You have something that I think you could be comfortable with after you go through the offseason workouts with Justin Fields, that I don't think they have to worry about rushing him back. They don't have to tell him, hey, get back here as fast as possible. I think they can play it a little cooler now, knowing that they have Justin Fields in their back pocket. That's the way I see it. I don't think it's a situation where they're going, oh my God, he's not going to be ready by week 8. I don't see it that way.
Let's not pretend like Justin Fields is a guy that can win you games. He is probably
he can win enough with that team, that offense.
He's probably the 40th, maybe 43rd best starting quarterback around the NFL right now. Like, Justin Fields is not a guy who you're bringing in to, just tread water or just kind of get you over. Justin Fields is a guy who you bring in because, hey, if you got to rely on him for a whole season, you're going to get a pretty good draft pick.
Hold on a second. I'm not totally defending Justin Fields here. It's going to sound like it, but I got to play a little bit of a contrarian point of view here. Tell me where this guy has been set up to succeed in his career so far. The Bears, Matt Eberflus. How'd that go? Then he's in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. I mean, where was he set up to succeed there?
Well, his record was 6-2 as a starter.
No, but that again, how much was asked of him though in that offense? This guy's never had a chance with a great head coach that an offensive-minded head coach, I should say. Not that Mike Tomlin wasn't a great coach. An offensive-minded head coach in a system with guys around him. He's never been in that. I would still love to see what Justin Fields could be. I'm not saying he's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's going to light up the town. I'm just saying I think 40th best quarterback might be a little extreme.
Oh,
if we're talking about,
I thought it might have been a little too generous. Here's the thing, right? And I think kind of what you're saying is a little bit of a chicken and egg thing. Sure, all of these defensive coaches keep signing him because no offensive coach has ever wanted him. That's the thing. These offensive coaches see talent and see what it takes to win in the NFL, and they understand that Justin Fields simply isn't all the way there.
We'll find out soon enough because he's going to get his opportunity to certainly play, I think, in some meaningful situations for that Chiefs team early in the year. Congratulations, Darius Slay, on a nice career. He retires, moving on to the next stage of his career. I know you're not a Darius Slay guy. I know. Hey, Super Bowl winner.
Don't
Darius
enjoy
Slay.
retirement, Darius.
Wow. Sam Yarnell, ladies and gentlemen. Not loving on Darius Slay. Happy retirement, Darius Slay.
Coward.
Our friend Chuck Todd is next. Welcome back to the show. I talked about it in the big story, and we'll expand upon it now. The World Baseball Classic, USA and Venezuela in the championship game. It's amazing. This World Baseball Classic has been fantastic. And fortunate to be joined by our good friend Chuck Todd, former Meet the Press moderator, host of the Chuck Todd Cast. You can see him on Newsphere as well. He's everywhere.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm great. Nice to when the airline industry kind of works on time.
Yes.
I usually get one leg. Round trips never work. But now at this point, if I can just have one leg of the trip go well, then you feel like you've won something.
Yeah. I see. I have to fly East Coast all the time from Vegas, and it's not fun.
It's a tough airport, the Harry Reid.
Yeah.
I will say that.
It's nice that it's only 15. It's nice that it's only a 15-minute drive to get there, though.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Right.
So, unbeknownst to me, I was texting with you last night. I said, "Hey, I want to get Chuck on to talk about the World Baseball Classic because it's world stuff and it kind of interweaves a little with politics sometimes." And I was like, "This will be a fun conversation." Little did I know you were at the USA Dominican Republic game.
No. I was at the Venezuela.
Oh, Venezuela. Sorry, you were at the Venezuela Italy game. Okay,
that's
fine. That's still awesome.
Why that game? Well,
yeah.
I actually looked at the bracket, and my son and I really wanted to go to a WBC game, and we were like, all right, it's Miami and Houston, and he goes to college in Dallas, but it was his spring break, and he was going to be in Miami. So I looked. I was like, all right, I can do one game. I saw you had semifinal Sunday, semifinal Monday, final Tuesday.
Yeah,
and I was like, all right, I can make Monday work. I couldn't make the other 2 days work. And I look, and I was like, oh, this is great. The most likely Monday matchup, assuming that the USA wins its pool and Japan wins its pool, will be USA-Japan. And I'm like, worst case scenario, I get as long as I get two of the following three, I said, USA, the Dominican, or Team Shohei, Japan. And didn't get any of those. And you know what? It was fantastic because I got the fourth best team you could have gotten, which arguably in Miami was the best team to just watch and appreciate and soak in the culture and everything. And that was Venezuela. Jason, I knew it was going to be different. You'd seen the reports the last time. I think Venezuela and the DR faced off in pool play, and it was just it was huge. And this happened 3 years ago before, right? We've seen that Miami you're sitting there going, boy, if the Marlins could ever figure out how to tap into this culture,
yes,
they would be there. This is why Major League Baseball expanded to Miami. They love it. And I was telling my son, I said, you're going to experience something you haven't experienced. Because I had gone to a baseball game in Havana, Cuba about 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And it was unlike, when you go to a baseball game in Latin America, whether it's Cuba, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, it is like going to a soccer game anywhere in Europe or a soccer game in Latin America. It is active. It is loud. It is everything is, it is not American baseball where we're all sitting there. Oh, yes. 2 strikes, get up, right? No. You don't have to tell the Venezuelans to get up. Man, they are going at 1 strike. They're getting ready. They're getting up. And I'll tell you this, it was such an experience. You realize Team USA better jump out to an early lead. Because if they don't jump out to an early lead, that crowd is going to mean something. I mean, they sucked the life out of Italy when Venezuela grabbed that lead. When they took the 4-2 lead, especially when Acuna was the key hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it just went bonkers.
Yeah, and they were hanging on after they scored those 4, those 3 runs and made it a 4-2 game. They were hanging on every pitch, every single pitch. Yeah. And that bullpen is electric, by the way.
It's a great bullpen. I mean, I look at this WBC and, there's one thing that nags at me. We don't have the best versions of these teams.
No.
Because of the time of year, right? They're not ready. Not every pitcher's ready. I think the best time to do this would be to add a week to the All-Star break and do this mid-season when everybody's in peak shape, tip-top shape. Look, you're going to have the same issues that you're worried about with doing it now. But now I think you'd more likely have everybody participates. It really is a bummer that Team USA doesn't have Skubal pitching tonight. And I'm a little bummed that he didn't. I'm not going to micromanage everybody's financial affairs. He's got a big contract and pitcher contracts. I mean, literally, if one thing goes wrong, he goes from, getting 2 years, $35 million to, versus 10 years, $400 million, right? Like this is, I understand it from that concern, but why are you playing baseball if you don't want to be in moments like this? Why do you want to do this for a living?
Even Joe Ryan turned down pitching in this game tonight, right, Sam?
Yeah, it has been crazy. And Chuck, it's something I've been talking about for weeks on this show, how disappointed I am as somebody who played baseball for 2 decades in the U.S., right? It's very hard to watch.
The Skubal thing bothers me. And again, I used pretty tougher language off air. And I'm like, because again, everybody's got to make their own decision. But it's a bummer. And again, I go back, okay, look, this is a weird time of year. Pitchers were so careful with how you strengthen an arm, and I respect all of that. So ultimately, look, it turns out Bud Selig was right. I think this is a Bud Selig brainchild, right? We all collectively, and at times he deserved it, crapped on Bud Selig a lot during his era as commissioner. But he made some transformational decisions that have really paid dividends long term. The wild card being the biggest, and WBC being another one. And look, it was an experiment. Spring training was the best time you could pull this off and get everybody to participate. Great news. Everybody loves it. Let's turn it into a July extravaganza. Because guess what? In July, you own this baseball. You're not competing with the NCAA tournament. Yeah. You're not competing with the college basketball at all. You're not competing with your own spring training, NFL free agency. Yeah. Give me, I think it is, let's go. July, you're doing you got the whole labor agreements coming up anyway. Put it all in there. 2029, it's July 1st through the 15th.
Listen,
let's rock.
Play the prelims in spring training and have
that's interesting.
And have the final 4 teams. Our friend David, and our friend David Ardsma brought that up on the show.
Fascinating way to do it.
Yeah, he brought it up last week on the show. Chuck Todd is hanging out with us. We're going to hang out with him for one more segment and talk some baseball with him from the World Baseball Classic. What it means for baseball going forward, too, when it comes to all the labor strife. I mean, if this doesn't teach baseball anything, I don't know what does. We're coming back.
You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/future to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/future for 20% off. trustandwill.com/future.
Chuck Todd is here hanging out with us. Talking about the World Baseball Classic with him. He was at the Venezuela-Italy game. And by the way, Italy, hats off to them. Showing up with, as Sam likes to say, the JV squad, the American JV squad, and performing really admirably in this World Baseball Classic.
Do you feel better about the Kansas City Royals now?
True.
Between Pasquantino and Caglione. Boy, let me tell you about that Jack Caglione. And I follow a little college baseball, so he was the Gators. I think
Sam loves college baseball. Oh my God.
It is this, you know how you just see a guy that has the look and you just sort of, you're like, this guy has it. You just can't. You were like, oh, Venezuela should be scared. And they pitched around him a couple. He had an unintentional walk, unintentional walk. I think a 4-pitcher one early on in that game. Let's just say I'm going to overpay for him in my fantasy draft next week. I'm in.
Fair enough. Real quick, you mentioned this in the last segment, and I've actually tweeted this out a bunch of times. Now seeing what that stadium sounds like when it's full and people are rabid, if the Marlins ever get good, that's going to be a fun place to watch October baseball, Chuck.
And here's the thing. I mean, this is my frustration with Miami baseball, with the MLB. It goes back to, it was when you make the initial decision, sometimes the worst decision that you make, and the worst decision that was made was identifying a gentleman named Wayne Huizenga to become the owner of the team. He hated the city of Miami, so much so he refused to call the team the Miami Marlins. He called it the Florida Marlins. Right then and there, should have been the red flag. Nobody thinks of Florida. Miami is separate from Florida. I say this with respect. It's just Miami is its own thing. It's its own brand. It's Hong Kong. Okay. It is just its own thing. And Huizenga had this whole Fort Lauderdale obsession. And, look, the garbage man did not understand marketing sports. And he just wanted a second tenant at the old Joe Robbie Stadium, which is now, of course, Hard Rock. Anyway, and then we had the bad owner of the Expos where they didn't want him to own the Nationals. So they said, here, we'll just give you the Marlins, the jeweler. Well, he was just if you thought Huizenga was a bad owner. So it's not fair that Miami, gets dinged by other people. Oh, you're not a good market and all this. It's been I'm talking Dan Snyder-esque ownership levels, just terrible owners. But all you got to do, let's make Pujols the manager. And you basically you just start building a team that is Dominican, Cuban, Venezuelan, right? You just sort of, you sign a couple of, maybe even the aging veterans, right? You get an Altuve, you have Pujols as the manager, you bring over a few, and I think you could build some excitement. And then all of a sudden, a Juan Soto, where does he want to go in free agency? He wants to go to Miami, right? He doesn't want to go to, why is he in New York? Right? If you're Dominican and you want to live in the States, you're going to live in New York or Miami. And Miami had a terrible baseball team, so we went to New York. I promise you, if Miami had been a competitive place to be, because he wants to go win. Soto's down there. It is ready to burst. The stadium's now in the middle of Little Havana. It's the old spot where the Orange Bowl used to be. It's not put it this way, it's not the best place for the stadium to be, but it ain't inconvenient like Hard Rock. And the community loves baseball. Yeah. Just build a winner that the community can fall in love with.
Sam, go ahead.
It's a fascinating point, Chuck, and one that, for the record, we see work in international sport, right? There's the Spanish soccer club. I believe it's Sevilla, where they only sign players that are from one certain region of one certain country for this exact reason. It's ingenious. I had never thought about something like that. A thing I'm curious about from a WBC perspective, we have the Olympics coming up in 2028. It's only going to be 6 teams. It's going to be in LA. Do you think it'll be hard for the Olympics to replicate the environment that the WBC has been able to cultivate?
With 6 teams, I do a little bit. And, I understand the allure of the Olympics. If you're playing a sport that's not an Olympic sport, right? The NFL players are all like, boy, I'd love a chance to be able to win an Olympic gold, right? And so this flag football business is exciting them. And they've seen the golf and tennis, winning a gold medal has been feels like a major now, right? It feels we now have our 5th major if you're an individual player in those 2 sports. Oh, I got a gold medal. Okay, you got a Wimbledon, you got a gold medal. All right, that's pretty good. I am skeptical that, that you'll be able to recreate this concept, especially don't forget we'll be during the season, in 28. It's the summer of 28. Now, I could argue if you're going to do the Olympics, let's make it college. Maybe you do everybody, maybe you just do a 22 and under. And maybe you make that the rule for all of that for the world, that it's 22 and under, and you make it more of a youth movement. With there, and then maybe that could generate some excitement. But the stars obviously generate the excitement. But 6 teams, I mean, I assume your 6 are going to be Japan, the USA, Korea,
Dominican Republic, Mexico,
what? Chinese Taipei, right? And there's your 6. Maybe China wants in on this. I don't, I'm not sure how the rules work, but
Korea,
World Cup, Olympic soccer's never topped World Cup soccer, has it?
Nope.
I think you've got the answer to your question.
Interesting. Chuck Todd, I always appreciate you. For those watching on YouTube, we will actually have more with Chuck, but for those watching on TV, we're going to say goodbye to Chuck for now. We have more to get to in the show. Chuck, always appreciate you, my friend. Who wins, USA or Venezuela?
Boy, after experiencing last night, home field belongs to Venezuela. I don't feel good about Team USA.
All right.
I don't.
Neither does Sam. You guys are in the same camp. We're coming back, more to do, and Chuck will stay with us on YouTube. Odds and Ends wraps it up in 10 minutes with news from the NBA. By the way, Lakers playing some good basketball right now. Got a good win on the road in Houston last night. All right, Sam Yarnell, let's talk NCAA Tournament. I touched on it in the big story. What a weird time to get busted for walking around with a pound of weed, huh? What a weird story this is. Like, just the timing of it, it's just very strange. Sam, I'm having a hard time kind of wrapping my head around this whole thing. With Alabama now having to get ready to play without their second leading scorer. I know. That's
yeah. So Jason, this is a wild story, and it only got wilder, right? Originally it was a pound, and originally we didn't know what was going to happen. Yada yada yada. Reports Wednesday night the kid's been kicked off campus. Aden Holloway, again, the second leading scorer on an SEC basketball team, and then reports come out Tuesday morning, not just 1 pound, 2.1 pounds, and apparently they're not sure if it was for personal use or not.
That's a lot of weed.
Interesting.
That's a lot of weed for personal use.
That is quite a large, that is a substantial amount.
This ain't distribution. This is consumption.
Again, we're talking about pounds. I'm pretty sure you buy that stuff in grams. Big discrepancy there.
You sound like you're speaking from experience on this, Sam. Anything we should know about?
No, but this is what you should know about. This is a great time to get in on my Hofstra pride, man. If there was ever a team that was looking to get upset in the first round of an NCAA tournament, it's a Nate Oates team without their second leading scorer. All I have to say, Jason Page, roll pride.
Holloway was, quote, removed from campus, not with the team, 4 days before their opener. Yeah, it's crazy.
Not good.
Searched a residence. They recovered more than a pound. That was the original report. Marijuana, paraphernalia, and cash. I mean, the paraphernalia would suggest using more than selling, though. But, I mean, they're talking about this could be up to 10 years in prison or a $15,000
I feel like
fine.
Alabama's not the best place to get caught with all that.
It's a lot of ways.
If he were at the University of Colorado, that would be a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. It'd be share some with us. That'd be about it. Yeah. It's probably about right. He had 18, by the way, in their loss to Ole Miss in the opening round of the SEC tournament. But, boy, you want to talk about, I mean, you want to talk about distractions. We always talk about, teams trying to avoid distractions. Imagine Nate Oates waking up to finding out this news about his second leading scorer. Yep. It's got up. What's the line on that Hofstra game?
What's the line? 14 and a half. I mean, I haven't looked since this news all came out and since he got kicked off campus. It may have dropped a point or two. But Jason, I mean, there's a joke to be made there, right? What did Nate Oates think when he woke up and found out one of his star players had been arrested again? I mean, I don't know. What did he think last time that happened? Yeah. This is just a theme with him.
Wow, the line is down to 11.5, by the way. 3 points. 3 points. And you can get
in while you can.
Get in where you fit in. Hofstra plus 580, by the way, if you want to take him to win the game. Plus 580 on Hofstra. Okay, we got the first four tonight. Action taking place around college basketball. You also got NIT games. But the ones we care about, UMBC and Howard, the 16s, meeting in the right to go get slapped around in the opening round of the actual tournament. And then Texas and NC State meeting up tonight, Sam. So what do you like in these two games? I couldn't tell you the first thing about UMBC and Howard. I'd be lying if I told you that I know anything about those two teams.
Yeah, I don't know anything about those two teams either this year. But what I do know is that it'd be fun to see UMBC on the 16 line in a tournament again and playing another one seed. I don't think they'd have a shot because I think the winner of this game plays Duke, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, no shot either of these teams have to beat them. But it would be fun to see UMBC on the 16 line again, I think. One of the things, Jason, that always is the most fun to me this time of year, obviously with Turner owning the rights to the beginning in the first rounds of the NCAA
by the way,
tournament.
It's Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah, winner
regardless,
of this game gets Michigan.
Still not going to win. Still no shot. But True TV's programming schedule today. Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
No,
if you haven't, here's what it was now, retrospectively. They ran an Impractical Jokers marathon from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Is there anything else that runs on there?
From 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., it was the movie Hoosiers. And then at 6 p.m., we got started with the games. I mean, folks, this is prime TV watching season. If you're not familiar with the quad box, get ready to learn it because this is truly the most fun time of the year to keep up with all your channels.
Yeah, I might have to get out to see. The problem is the games start so early on Thursday that it stinks for me because we're just kind of wrapping up the show, but I'm going to have to head over to one of the sports books, maybe go see our friends over at Circa.
Oh gosh, good luck getting a table.
Yeah, that's true too. Might have to call in some favors there. The other game tonight, as we mentioned, Texas and NC State. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, I know. And then tomorrow we'll get to see Miami of we'll get to see Miami of Ohio. The first 4 games, always very entertaining, as Sam pointed out on Monday's show. We're coming back with odds and ends next. Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Tuesday, but before we go, a couple of reminders. First of all, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the SportsWrap with Jason Page podcast, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. It's the Monday through Friday TV version of the show, available in its audio form. You can listen to it while you're in the car, driving the kids to school, on the treadmill, on your way to go meet your weed dealer, whatever. Apparently, if you're one player from Alabama, that's what you were doing. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. We are not, by the way, advocating to go and buy weed. I just wanted to make that clear. So, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast, go and subscribe today. Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. This is the place for all things Sports Wrap. The Monday through Friday TV version of the show, available on our YouTube channel, commercial-free, 45 minutes, early every afternoon. Pro tip, a lot of times you could actually catch it there first, as a lot of our affiliates air the show later in the afternoon or sometimes in the evening. By the way, hello to our friends watching on Masson. We used to be on Masson 2. Now we're on the main Masson. Thank you to the folks at Masson, with Masson 2 no longer being a thing. We're on Masson Monday through Friday and the weekends, and we are thrilled to be on the home of the Baltimore Orioles, so make sure to check out the show there. But again, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, extended conversations are there, Sports Wrap shorts are there as well. Go and subscribe to that channel. Sports Wrap shorts also available on our TikTok, Sports Wrap Jason Page, and on our YouTube channel, or rather our Instagram, Sports Wrap Jason Page. All right, without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, and we didn't get to it yesterday, Sam Yarnell, but the NBA talking expansion. It looks like this thing is finally coming to a vote, and I will never be moving out of Las Vegas at this point. Between Major League Baseball coming in 2028 and now reports of the 2028-29 season featuring an NBA team in Las Vegas, I have no reason to move anymore. I may just wind up planting my flag. I may finally have a place to plant my flag, and it might be Las Vegas, Sam Yarnell.
Until you see what rent prices do when all those teams get to town.
I got news for you, my friend. We will not be renting by 2028 if we are still here. We will be buying. Before those prices go up any further, too. We will be buying.
Good luck with that. I mean, I think you, Jason Page, are approaching at this point in your life. You're almost to the median home buyer age in America right now, but not quite there yet. You're still a spring chicken for that. No, this is great for the NBA. Obviously, my main thing, my only necessary thing with all of this expansion. The Oklahoma City Thunder have to surrender, sell, do whatever you got to do, every single piece of Seattle Sonics imagery to the new franchise. If there's a new franchise in Seattle and it's not the Sonics with that colorway, with that logo, or some new iteration of it, I am going to be very disappointed. And Jason, it would be another one of these happenings in these iterations that we've seen. It would be the third time in the last 30 years in sports history that we've seen it with 3 different teams, right? You originally had the Houston Texans wanting to be the Houston Oilers, and the Tennessee Titans not giving them the images and likenesses of the Houston Oilers. You had the same when the Montreal Expos moved back to Washington and became the Washington Nationals. They wanted to become the Washington Senators, but the Texas Rangers would not give them any of the images or likenesses of the Washington Senators. If that same thing happens in the NBA, I will be very disappointed. It feels like every time it's happened, the 2 times it has happened in the last 25 years, people have been adamant that it shouldn't. We cannot let it happen this time. Let the Sonics go back to Seattle, Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they will. I'd be very surprised if they did. You know, especially the Thunder have built their own thing in Oklahoma City. They don't need to hang on to that Seattle name. They really don't. It's not like it's something they really embraced. It's not like we saw a bunch of Sonics nights in Oklahoma City. I think they should be willing to let it go. I think they will. And Las Vegas getting a team, just terrific. I wonder if LeBron James will be part of that ownership group, though, which starts to get very interesting when you talk about the timing of where his career is. There's always been talk of LeBron wanting to be in ownership, and that's going to be the opportunity for him if he wants to do that. Real quick.
What is this going to do to the conferences? You're adding
They're
2
move
teams
somebody.
to the West. Yeah, so the Grizzlies
Somebody's
will
going
have to
to the
move to the East. The
I mean,
Grizzlies will
Oklahoma
have to move to the
City?
East.
OKC could move to the East, too.
But I feel like geographically,
Minnesota?
Memphis is further east
Minnesota could move to the East. Milwaukee's in the East. Could move Minnesota to the East.
Yeah, maybe.
Which, if I'm Anthony Edwards, I'm thrilled. And if I was Memphis, I'd be thrilled. If they move to the East as well. So, all certainly possibilities. By the way, I mentioned it before, Lakers beat the Rockets last night 100-92, and they're starting to pile up some tiebreakers, too, that look good for them. Why the cringing? They look good.
This was a bad game for Kevin Durant.
Oh,
it really was.
They're
and
a
he's
mess.
being ripped online for it, but if you go back and watch the tape, all the Lakers did to win this game was every time Kevin Durant got the ball, they threw a double team at him, and he just freaked out.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant in his 19th season looked like he couldn't handle a double team. It was crazy, Jason.
Yeah, he got his pockets picked a couple of times in that game, especially in the second half as well. Lakers peaking at the right time. We'll see what happens. It's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks to Chuck Todd. Thanks to you, Sam Yarnell. Thanks to all of you at home for watching. That does it for Sports Wrap on this Tuesday. Back here on Wednesday, Kurt Heelan of Pro Basketball Talk and David Arnsma to talk about the World Baseball Classic. We'll see you then.